Hello everybody and welcome to the May 2018 update from Clydebridge station. There's been a hell of a lot of work done on the layout this month and we've got some new arrivals. Not all of them are of the rolling stock variety, so stay tuned and I'll show you what's been happening and what's came, and any comments or questions or suggestions put in the comments box, and I look forward to hearing and reading them. Enjoy the programme. Well, the first thing to tell you about this month are the two rolling stock arrivals, and you can see them there. Two large logo Class 47 4s. Now they're both made by Bachmann, and we have here 47436 and 47444 University of Nottingham. Now the former was bought at Harburn Hobbies in Edinburgh. Oops, wrong way. There we go, better view of it. While the latter was purchased from David Watson, who runs the Dean Park layout that you see here on YouTube as well. And 47436 was surplus to requirement, so that's why I've got it. Now both locomotives have been run in, and initially had a wee problem with both locomotives at the tunnel at the top of the ramp, where they were actually derailing at the top of the ramp on the inner track, and after a bit of perseverance, having to take the wall away and then find it and what the problem was, I ended up unpinning the track, and I found that that's actually sorted the problem, because the locomotives will go in there and they'll go up onto the track and push it down like that, and they then end up sitting on it, and that seems to push the track down. So whatever it was causing it has now been solved by that simple solution. Now the two locomotives, I say, have been run in, and they're not fitted with DCC decoders yet. However, after this programme is put onto YouTube, these two locomotives, as well as 47475 and 47708, which is out of shot, are all going to be taken down to Scooney Hobbies in Kirkcaldy, where they're going to be fitted with Bachmann chips, Bachmann decoders, and that'll allow them to run on DCC. That should give you a clue as to what the other two arrivals were. The first arrival, well, is actually just here. We have the first section of the bus wire installed. And this is for the North Fiddle Yard, and it's now completely wired up, and I don't know if you can actually just see it on there. I'm going to see if I could get a light in there. There we go. And you could just see the soldering there. Now, before I started the soldering, I did a practice solder on an old piece of track and wood, and having shown it to a couple of people, they told me what to do, how to perfect it, and I've managed to actually end up doing it. So this siding where the push-pull train will be, and this head shunt here for trains to run round, and we have it further on at this point here and here, they're all now soldered. They have been tested. 47436 was run on DC power, and power was getting to them from the fourth arrival, which is the Hornby Elite controller, which you see there. It has been tested, the controller, with 47436, and all the there is power getting to them. So we have at last now got the process of the start of DCC. And that explains why we've got the depot built there, and I'll come to a bit more of that in a moment. The DCC kit, well, it's actually all up there along with the case for the camcorder. I'm sorry I've actually got it up there, but it came from Express Models in Loughborough. New Junction, that's the one that he used. He got his from Express Models as well. And I've managed to install under the North Fiddle Yard. My plan is to then get round and get the bus wire kit under here, under the South Fiddle Yard, and that'll allow me to actually get the wiring done in where the hell have I put the holes now? Well, they're here somewhere. There you go. There and there, and I'll get them done, and that'll actually allow power up onto the ramp, and that'll be the starting of the process of DCC in the south side of the layout, the lower layout. Obviously still a bit of work to go here because we need to obviously install brand new replacement track to all these sidings here. So it's unlikely we're actually going to have the station even started until probably the end of the year, but progress is now being made. A couple of days ago I was just checking the track layout to make sure things were okay, and I come across a little problem. I think you can actually see from here what it is. For some reason, and I suspect it's been when I had the aforementioned problem in the tunnel, you can see here the track's slightly gone out of sync. Now, if I take this piece of track here, and I could actually show you, that's it lined up there at the join between the two tracks there, but you could see the join is already underneath this track there. So for some reason I've gone out of sync and it's not all fitting together. So while my locals are getting their decoders installed, I'm going to be buying a track cutter, and I'm going to get a new piece of track in here, probably 2 new points as well, so at least I can get started here. And I'll be able to test run access to them from the depot here, and that way I should be able to get everything sorted and back into sync again. Now, track cutting appears to be very easy. The Xeron track cutter seems to be the most popular one. There's a couple of layouts use it, and IC82, Intercity 82, that's Will Spilsbury down in Crewe. He actually demonstrated the use of it on one of his videos as well. So that's the track cutter I'm going to be using. Now, while I'm up here as well, you can actually see a couple of other things have happened. I've actually already ballasted in at the tunnel bit here. The reason why I had to go and do that ballasting out while I'm still building the rest of the layout was very simple. It allowed me to get this bit on here and start to create the town scene. So there is a little bit of landscaping being done here. I've started installing some cable trunking in a box, and there'll be a signal going just in here soon. And I've changed the track layout just slightly here, so we've got a crossover that's going to be installed here now. And that'll allow trains to get round into the station area. Another change that's been done here in the depot entrance is, the problem with the old Glasgow City layout was that trains coming from the sheds or the depot itself, they had to actually negotiate with the shunter. They would have had to come out and foul the main line here to be able to get pushed into another siding. To get around that, what I've done this time is built a head shunt. It's not complete yet. A shunter and 3 Mark II coaches do fit in here, but I will be extending the length of the head shunt a little bit, as much as the track layout into the station will allow me, just to give me that extra bit of insurance. So that's what's been happening here with the track layout. This here is a gloss, one coat gloss black that I've put on there, as I've done here. This was actually done with an old matte paint. It looks nice, it's nice and shiny, but what I'm going to do to try and make it a bit better is I'm going to mix some more of the gloss paint with Shaper Sheet plaster to try and make it more of a roady effect. I'm not quite happy with how it's turned out now. It's nice enough, okay, I accept that. This bit here is going to be where a couple of buildings are going to go. We're going to have the signal box here, and the depot office here. And you can see here I've already started planning out the track layout. I'm thinking about putting the fueling point here, and maybe putting a fuel tank just here. The alternative would have been to put the fueling point up here and the fuel tank afterwards just there. So that's an alternative. Let me know what you think. Do you think I should put it down here next to the depot building, which will sit here? Or should I create this head shunt and make it just a local head shunt with the fueling point there, and there'll be another siding coming along here for coaching stock, and I could have the fuel tank there? Please let me know what you think's the better option. Whilst we're on the topic of the depot itself, I've brought 47475 up with its rolling stock, and I've just placed it in here now. That's to make sure that a Class 47 with 3 Mark II coaches and a Class 08 shunter, which I'm just going to get the now in place there, would be able to fit. And you can see they do comfortably fit. So I'm happy with the length of the sidings. Just put that back down there. I'm happy with the length of the sidings. So I'll have 1, 2, 3 for coaching stock to sit in, and this also will be a head shunt. I probably will end up shorting it down and having the fuel tank just further along, and then the locos can run off into here. 2 covered sidings where the engine shed will be outside siding as well, so potential for 3 locos to sit there, potential for 3 rakes of coaches to sit there, and this will be where empty stock will be delivered and it'll be shunted out and put into another siding, and it might be where empty stock is placed ready for a loco to take it to the station. Now the next thing I'll need to go and explain to you will first of all require me to move 47475 and its rolling stock, so just stay there and very shortly we'll have the siding cleared for you. Right, with the transpennine chain removed for the moment, you can actually see the work that has been done here. Now the shaper sheet, this is an old bit of shaper sheet I've got, and this is a roll that I bought recently when I was over at Harbour Hobbies getting getting my Elite controller. And what I've got to do here is I'm going to have to put the shaper sheet plaster on this, and I know that it's lifting up there. There's not much I can really do about that, but once it's rock hard, I'm not going to be doing much more with it. I'm just going to probably paint that a dark brown colour and the same along here. So this has got to get shaper sheet plaster added to it. When I was cutting this board here, I ended up making a mistake and there was a little gap just at the end here. So what I've done is I've just put more plaster here, shaper sheet, so now it'll get covered with plaster. It's the same way like the rock face going around a little bit. I've got a little bit of spare shaper sheet plaster, and I've got a possible use for that which I'll explain. Shaper sheet here, and we're going to call it plaster. I've got tons of plaster, never mind. But the shaper sheet plaster will be applied to the shaper sheet in the next few weeks, and then it will get painted dark brown. And then that, as far as I'm concerned, should really be it with regards to the actual decoration of the shaper sheet. I don't think I'll need to put much more else. I'll know I'll need to put some filler down here and here, because it will lift up a bit, but that will get done with. The town scene will be up here. My low relief buildings will sit on this whole section here. A couple of full size buildings. The the bank and the Headingley Insurance Services building will sit up on here once all that junk's cleared. That junk will get moved over. And what we'll then be able to have is that the town scene will start to get worked on. And that means that the ramp, which is probably the centrepiece of it, is already, as you can see, covered over. You cannot see it, but the ramp is down there. But the idea is that there'll be no other real landscaping apart from the shaper sheet on this section for quite some time to come. Obviously there's going to have to be a lot of work done here on making pavements and that for the town scene. And as I've said already, I'm going to be giving the road another coat of black paint, but this time it'll be mixed with shaper sheet plaster. So there's a lot of work that I've still got to do on the town scene before it'll be ready to get any buildings done on it. So by the time of the June update there might be work on that. As we progress over here, as I've already mentioned about that, the space piece of shaper sheet might actually just go here to cover around this bit here, and I'll probably have some sort of retaining wall. I know Gauge Master make a sort of retaining wall, I've seen that before, and I'll maybe put that in there. Obviously it'll have to be checked for clearance beforehand. That in itself will then allow will then allow me to start considering about what other landscaping I need before I've even ballasted. That cannot be done until after I've installed the dropper wires here and here, here, and probably some here for the DCC. So we're still quite a long way off that. However, the DCCing of the North Fiddle Yard means that a major milestone has been completed. One or two other little problems that have come up, and if you actually notice here, there is quite a big problem. You see him here, see a little gap there, and I've got quite a bigger gap that I'm probably going to have here when I put the station approach board on. How I'm going to get around that is simply just using filler and filling that in, and then obviously the paint will carry on round there. The last thing to actually point out to you from this month's update, whilst I'm actually here, is that at the depot end here, I've got this bit of plywood on, it was an offcut. What I'll end up doing is I'll paint all this blue, and then I've got some walling that I could put there, and that'll then just simulate some walling. It'll be going, stopping there with the town scene above, you see. So I've got that walling there that I need to get put down. I've got it actually here in the shed somewhere, so I will look for that. That's not a major job at the moment though. Obviously this is all just planned out with using old track, and it will eventually get replaced with new track, but the priority is going to be getting a programming track which will sit in here. That'll happen on Saturday so I can get the locos programmed, and then obviously get the South Fiddle Yard track all replaced, brand new stuff, so we can actually then get movement as it were in here and have this DCC'd. Once it's all tested, then the station boards will go on, and that's when the fun really begins. Now, a couple of you have been asking me on some of the forums, including BR Blue and Instagram, about roughly where is Clydebridge going to be set. I was giving it some thought, and this is where I'm thinking it will actually be set. Now, although I'm here in the east of Scotland, I always thought that the west of Scotland was more fascinating because there was a lot more local haul trains at the time. So Clydebridge would be a town roughly in probably near East Kilbride, Motherwell, and that'll be reflected in the fact that the push-pull train will be operating the Clydebridge to Glasgow Central shuttle service every half hour. We'll have the Transpennine train doing the Clydebridge to Manchester Airport or Clydebridge to Liverpool Lime Street via Wigan and Newton Le Willows service. We'll have other rolling stock which will be forming services from Clydebridge to Steps, Cumbernauld, Falkirk, Grahamston and Edinburgh. Half hourly to Falkirk, Grahamston, hourly onwards to Edinburgh. Clydebridge to Stranraer, Clydebridge to Kilmarnock and Carlisle. And we'll have intercity service from Clydebridge to quite a few points. I mean, you can actually see some of them on here on that map there. The main idea is, as I got told off Mark Filcher, the main idea of a layout is your layout, you choose what you want with it. You'll notice that there's no West Highland Line services on it, too far south. So that means that it's going to be a layout with a Class 26, a Class 08 shunter, and dominated otherwise by Class 47. So it is going to be a bit boring on that aspect. Sorry about that, but as I say, it is my layout. But there'll also be parcels trains coming on every now and then. An overnight sleeper service, and people will maybe be saying, well, it's only 3 coach trains you're going to have in some cases, but do you remember that trains used to divide and split at Carstairs in the old days of intercity up until the electrification in 1990? So they could divide and join at Motherwell or Carstairs. I'm also toying with the idea of a possibility of a Clydebridge to Greenock service as well, or maybe a Clydebridge to Clydebridge. I'm not sure on that, but I've certainly got the main idea of it. As I say, it is my layout, and that's what I've chosen to do. Now, by the time of the June update, there won't be much work that will have been done on the layout, but I would hope by the time of the June update that I'll have got this repainted again, black paint with Shaper sheet plaster, and we might even have the signal box and the station, the depot access building on there. In terms of track replacement, I think realistically I can only go for replacing the short straight there, this set of points, and maybe this siding here to get started. Realistically that's all I can do, but by the time of the June update all 4 of my class 47s should be given their own decoders. And if you're wondering how I'm going to identify the locomotives, how I'm going to number them, very simply, the last 3 digits of each class 47 will be its number here on the Hornby Elite controller. Now that's all for this month's update, but as I always like to give shout outs to other other layouts and that. Before I do that, I also want to just give a shout out to a website that I was recommended to join by somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but they gave me a recommendation to join this website called brblue.net. Now the person that gave me that recommendation was on Rail Forums in the modelling section. He suggested it, and there's a section on my workbench, and one of the threads on that is this layout. So if you haven't seen it before, it is on there. Robert.Clark125 on Instagram as well. And if I could give a quick big shout out as well to Radio City DJ Dave Kelly, who does the breakfast show with Leanne Campbell, who's just followed me this evening at the time of filming of this. And big shout out to you, Dave. Hello. Thank you very much. And if you could follow me on Twitter as well, please, Dave, and everybody else. Robert Clark125 on Twitter. Now, in terms of layouts, Everard Junction, he's progressing with his layout, but he, like me, like David Watson, like everybody else who have shown their layouts on YouTube, he is not on there all the time. We have day jobs to do. Richard Warren is a busy man, but his Everard Junction layout is coming on okay. The last update, which was in April, he did have a complete loop of track, and he had a class 33 pulling HST stock. So hopefully he'll have a bit more progress. So if you check his layout out, and he's got the videos of his old Everard Junction layout, so this is really Everard Junction Mark II. I mentioned to the person that sold me 47436, David Watson. His layout, Dean Park Station, is on Facebook as well as YouTube, so a quick shout out to him. A couple other layouts as well. Fir Park, which you might think is set in Motherwell, but it's not. I believe the gentleman set it in England, but please stand and correct me if I'm wrong on that. Newcastle Central, which is going to be a model representation of the Great North Eastern Railway terminus, which these days services East Coast trains and Northern and Transpennine trains with the Tyne-and-Wear Metro below it. New Junction, as has already been mentioned on here, that was how I got the idea for getting express models for the bus wire kit. And Strathpeffer Junction is set in the Highlands in the ScotRail era. He's actually well on the way to building his layout as well. So please check these out and please follow them as well. Subscribe to them. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. So that's it for this month's update. I've got a bit of gardening to do outside, so progress next month will be rather limited. But I hope to be able to demonstrate that we actually are, for the first time ever, running locomotives on the DCC concept. So I shall see you for that, and please enjoy your model railways layouts. Thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.